Holy sh**, that movie was good. Sinners. Trying to leave their troubled lives behind, twin brothers return to their hometown to start again, only to discover that an even greater evil is waiting to welcome them back. Yeah, as I said, this film is just insane, and I had a really good time with it. It's essentially two films, or two styles of films, which are then connected to each other through, well, essentially the characters. What I mean by that is that, yes, this is a vampire film, but to be honest, we have about 90 minutes of a movie before we even get to any of that, and what takes place before that is an extremely good drama with some interesting characters. Take the vampires out entirely, and I'd still be fully engaged with this. And then it gets to the vampire stuff, and we get some really intense yet entertaining conflicts, which results in quite an indulgent payoff at the end. You come away from this feeling pretty satisfied. My only note might be that I was so interested in the characters that it doesn't really do any of them justice at the end when the vampire attacks start going down, with the exception of maybe a couple of them. Speaking of characters, Michael B. Jordan's our leading role, and he's so good in this that they put him in here twice. Both his characters just command the attention of the room anytime they're in a scene, and the twins are just different enough to feel like entirely separate characters, but his performance is top stuff in this and is definitely the backbone of the movie. The mechanics behind him playing two characters was done very well too. They do have a lot of one stands on the left and one stands on the right sort of moments where you can kind of easily see how it was done, but a lot of the time they interact with each other and there's nothing to pick on, you're just wondering how they did it. Great use of camera positioning and body doubles to never really take you out of the film. Miles Caton, which I believe this is his acting debut, he's bloody great in this too. His character is very music focused and god, this guy has a great voice. Honestly, great stuff coming out the gate. You got Hailee Steinfeld having fun with her role, and I also want to give props to Wonmi Masaku and Delroy Lindo, who also make for a great supporting cast. It's also just nice to see characters being clever about everything. No one, well almost no one, is making stupid classic horror decisions which might make your eyes roll. Everyone clocks on quick and buckles up into gear to keep the pace going. Now onto the big fish, which is what I think really elevates this movie into a higher grade, and goddamn, it's the music! The story is very focused on music, and Ludwig Göransson, who is the genius behind many other great scores, has this task at hand of bringing the love of blues music to light. There's also a big focus on Irish folk as well, and they do a great job of effortlessly blending the two together. But it's not just Irish folk that they're mixing with, it's a horror film, so the score keeps a lot of those traditional horror score elements that you've heard elsewhere, but they interweave it with the blues songs, and it gives off this great vibe, this blend of boss aura yet shit's about to hit the fan. So the movie can afford to take these long drawn out shots of settings and environments because you're just vibing to the soundtrack. There are a decent amount of scenes which I could talk about, which do a great job in the score, but the biggest one that I want to mention is a scene where it brings in different generations of music that relate to the blues. If you've already seen the film, you'll absolutely know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's mixing in old tribal chants or modern hip hop, but the way the scene's crafted is that you see these songs intertwine as the score continues to dip in and out these different genres. It's also just a great way they drop in the history of the blues without ramming it down your throat and in keeping with the film. Genius, honestly. This is directed by Ryan Coogler, who did the Black Panther movies, so it probably shouldn't be a surprise about how well the music creates the vibe and tone of the film. We all know how good the soundtrack of the Black Panthers are. And then additionally, there's some great camera work going on here too, with some great one takes, long and drawn out with purposeful movements that just let you soak up the actors' emotions and movements. Nothing was cut to death, even when it started to get action heavy. I think I just went into this expecting it to be a fun time, but this really surprised me on just how much I enjoyed it, and also just how well crafted it is in every aspect. I also haven't even talked about the great sets and costumes that the team did too. My only gripe might be some obvious green screen usage when they're doing driving scenes, and that's nearly 2 hours and 20 minutes long. But I really wouldn't want to take anything out of this, but I can see that some people would find this movie starting to feel long by that 90-minute mark before the film shifts gear into the vampires. Also, as a side note, there's a whole other chunk of this movie which takes place in the mid-credits scene. Kind of wild because it's fairly important to the story, but I get it would feel like a third or fourth ending if they kept it in, but I saw a lot of people leaving beforehand who missed out on this. So keep your bums in the seats just for a bit longer. Right, good god, that's Sinners. A clear recommendation from me. It came out on the weekend, so maybe you have already seen it. If so, let me know your thoughts on the film in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, feel free to leave a like and subscribe and all that stuff. And as always, stay tuned for more reviews on movies, anime and video games. Until next time guys, take care. Bye bye.